previous minus 212.8k. Canadian unemployment rate, forecast 9.2%, previous 9.4%. Canadian capacity utilization, forecast 78.0%, previous 76.5%. Canadian wholesale sales month over month, forecast 5.0%, previous minus.
Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out, and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. That's what's wrong. Okay. I was messing around with the microphone yesterday, and I guess I screwed it up a little bit. Let's see. Let's skip that. There we go. Okay, sorry guys. The sound was all screwed up, and then the other thing was that I still had the browser sound on, so you could hear the news squawk at the beginning. I am so sorry about that. Give me the news. So let's come in and look here what we got just as our setups first of all. So, E-mini, kind of interesting day. It was a really solid day. I were gunning for those all-time highs, but they came just short. And now in the overnight session, pushing a little bit lower and bouncing off of what I would consider to be this previous support area. Not the support and resistance matters, but we got a pretty nice bowl here. Now treasuries pushing down. So I don't see a catalyst for this. I'm not quite sure why it's moving down like this, but man, the treasuries just really all of a sudden out of nowhere started pushing down. And we got the dollar kind of coming back. So all of the progress that we made over the past, 2 days, treasuries coming back. Oh my gosh, is the baby. So I have to warn you, I'm not going to be as involved in the stream today because I am watching the baby and he might be waking up here. So let's hurry up and finish. Maybe he heard me talking. I need to be quieter. Volume profile. Oil, it's recovering some of its losses, but still kind of pretty subdued. There hasn't been a whole lot of news catalysts over there. Gold getting just absolutely obliterated with this recent dollar strength. Same with silver. Copper still kind of sideways. So that's kind of where we're at. Now this morning we're going to get PPI. So we're looking for a reading of month over month spot 5%, which is pretty high. Core PPI spot 2. Because energy has increased a lot, right? So if that core PPI number ends up being higher than expected, then again, we could have a lot of trouble, right? So we got the PPI, and then later in the day, we've got the consumer sentiment news. And so, like I said, today is going to be the baby Asher show when he wakes up. And so I'm not going to take any trades. I don't even have the robots on. Couldn't make a trade without the news. Well, I would hope that you would make sure that you have some idea of the context in the news before you start trading. Or that you would know things like that PPI is coming up, right? That would be an important thing to know. I get a little concerned sometimes when I see people come in later in the day and they're like, why did the markets take off at 8:30 Eastern time? And I'm like, how could you not know that there was a CPI number coming out then, right? Like, man. You've got to watch that stuff when you're trading futures. Okay, so here we come for the news. getting the PPI numbers, but they're oh, okay. PPI month over month actual spot 5, forecast spot 5, core spot 2 versus the forecast to spot 2. So the PPI numbers all came in line. I think that the mini might buy off of this, but I don't really see trade, and I'm not going to take a trade. I'm tempted though. I'm tempted to buy it. What is this for cryptocurrencies? Crypto market tumbles as the CFTC reportedly opens investigation into Binance. The CFTC is investigating Binance on whether the exchange allowed U.S. residents to buy or sell derivatives, as Binance isn't registered with the agency. However, it's important to note that the exchange hasn't been accused of anything just yet. Additionally, Binance has always stated that it will not comment on communications with regulators. The exchange does block U.S. residents from the website and has created a specific exchange called Binance US for them. Okay, so that one, well, the headline was cryptocurrency market tumbles, but Bitcoin's just still kind of where it was. There is some selling on the futures, though. But no, I don't think that that's too big of a deal. So because I don't think I will be doing as much talking today, I'm going to turn the text to speech on here. I just walked into rollover territory. It double. How do you? Well, so if we, well, I'm going to have to come in and, let's make another chart here so that I can show you one that's a little bit further out. So this one, we will do it on a daily chart. Did you roll? Yeah, so I rolled yesterday. We're in March. It still looks pretty light. Usually things do pick up after the ES Open. But it looks to me like because the prints were in line with expectation, there was the Canadian numbers, but the PPI numbers were all in line with expectations, eerily so. And I think that the market is starting to become skeptical of the inflation numbers that we're getting, because like the CPI report said that the cost of housing is not increasing. There's no way that's true. There's no way that's true. The housing market is going nutso, and CPI isn't reflecting it at all. You've got to be kidding me, right? And there was a note at the bottom of the report saying that a lot of the sources that they normally contact weren't available. So it kind of sounds like they were making a lot of it up. And that might be the case for the PPI too. So we give it another month or two, and I think that maybe by May, when things are really opening up, and then we can actually see what the damage is, right? I honestly don't know what's going to happen after we break 4K. This coincides with the Biden stimulus, but at some point this should begin to wear out. Yeah. Well, you got to wonder with the last stimuluses, it was always kind of like, yeah, shouldn't it already be priced into the market though? Well, there was quite a bit more drama with those stimulus than this one. This one also puts a lot of money into different places. But then you get this other problem, which is that they're already planning another stimulus. In this case, infrastructure. So, oh, you know what? It's taking so long is because it's doing tick replay. We don't need that. Are we trading? Well, at the start, maybe you could trade June contract. Honestly, for me, I'm waiting for the baby to wake up, because it's just me. Wife is out of town. and it is still light, and so maybe I just don't take any trades until Tuesday. I have found that I don't do as well around rollover, so in one end of the balloon, the Fed is blowing fairy dust and air, in the other, a hole big enough to let the pressure out. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like the thing here is that all of the economists are like saying, well, we don't see very high risk of inflation. But then it's like, okay, so the economy is doing really, really great, and we have to put another $2 trillion into it. Like, come on. And then the treasuries saying, yeah, there's a problem. I mean, they're straight up saying there's a problem with the government debt. So, I don't know. There you go. So now on a daily chart, maybe we can see. I mean, is that a double top? It's like steroids. You always have side effects. Well, there you go. 60-minute chart, maybe. But I don't get where you're seeing a double top. Not that it matters. Not that it matters. Yeah, I had an interesting experience on this the other day, by the way. Because I'm getting a lot of people. We're getting to the point. It's really interesting to watch the development of traders, right? And we're getting to the point where a lot of the people who started trading this year, and they're day trading, and they haven't caught some huge crazy winner, are starting to question things, right? And so I'm starting to see almost every day now people asking, does this actually work? And so I came in and I said, well, there's been lots of studies on this, and it doesn't look like technical analysis is very effective. And I come in, I backtest the strategies that people post in here, and they suck. And almost immediately somebody was like, so what do you use? And it was like, they don't know how to trade without it. They don't know that there's anything even out there. They don't realize that you can trade on an intraday basis with news or fundamentals. That order flow is a little different from retail technical analysis. Oh no, it was just kind of like it was just really interesting. I couldn't believe that. Like if somebody comes in and I say technical analysis isn't very effective, like the first assumption that you're going to make is, so he probably trades news and fundamentals, right? but these new retail traders, they don't know anything else. You come for the economy, but everything that you've pointed out to us, we've gone in and shown that it's not very effective. That at best break even. You claim that you have something more, but you haven't shown it to us. There are some Axia traders who do really well by trading the news. Yeah, exactly. You have tested shit. That's bullshit, dude. Blunt. I've tested the Fourier series. I have tested the Kel. What was it called? What was the Cal something? The analysis that one, as I've been watching it, I'll show it to you guys here, because I'm willing to share it with you. At first I was like, okay, gotta keep this super secret, but nah, it's not. it doesn't do nothing. Kalman. So yeah, there's some interest. So Kalman was an algorithm that was designed to try and determine where an airplane is, because you're using radar and you get only periodic updates on where the plane is, and where you get the plane being at is inconsistent. Like there's some error in the measurement that you're reading anyways, and then it's supposed to be traveling with a certain velocity or acceleration, and that's where this was originally developed from. Or I wouldn't say that it was originally developed for that, but that's like the most significant application of it. So yeah, it's a noise smoother. Well, you say it's a noise smoother based on Brownian motion, but like the thing about that blunt is that there are a number of moving averages, many of which you can just go and download from Lizard indicators that are based on some sort of noise filter, right? Different methods of getting through Brownian or Gaussian noise. Low pass filters, essentially. So I went and I back tested the Kalman, and it performed the same way that our favorite low pass filter, the Super Smoother, did, which was to say that it almost made it break even. So Tizium says technical levels work if you understand the order flow and market structure profile. Prove it. So I've done a number of tests where I will look for a significant level, and then when we reach that significant level, or we go past it and we're coming back the other way, and I see certain order flow, I will take the trade. And they're still not very effective. Those ones, my recollection is that I found periods where they worked really well and periods where they didn't work very well. So here's where it kind of gets into how do you prove that something works? So one way that we would always sit down and say, let's prove if it works, is by trading it for a while and see how it goes, right? It's funny because if you go in and you ask somebody, okay, show your results, show your trading results, that usually shuts them up. I get it, because 95% of traders lose. So it's a pretty, but even if they do show those results and they're successful with it, that doesn't necessarily prove that the thing works, right? It's anecdotal, right? That one person had success with it. Okay, so that means that person had success with it in the past. Doesn't prove that they will continue to have success with it in the past. And it doesn't prove that you can have success with it in the past, right? So then we kind of get into other things, right? So here's the kind of the level of evidence that I would like to see, okay? If you are a large firm and you are trading a large number of contracts and you're acquiring a huge position in something, the effect that you have on the market tends to follow a square root law. That is a constant times the spread of the instrument times the square root of the number of shares that you are going to acquire over the average volume for the time period that you're trading. And this has been shown empirically time and time again. Every firm, they try and measure their execution impact because it really affects their bottom line. And they always come back to this formula that it follows a square root law. And people for years and years and years try to figure out why this was. And finally, somebody came up with a model where they measured the latent liquidity, not just the resting liquidity, but when they modeled the latent liquidity and the way that you know it behaves as you trade through it, and they found why the market follows a square root impact law. Okay? And this is consistent. There's empirical evidence for it. Now, can you make a profitable strategy off of that? I don't know. Maybe you'll find something. But this is something that you can rely upon. It's a property of the markets that is not random, that is not a random walk, and has empirical evidence to prove that it happens, right? That would be the kind of level of a thing that would maybe start making me think, okay, here's a technical that I could like trade off of, right? Another good one is clustering effects, right? We know that markets cluster. Anybody, I mean, there's empirical evidence on this and lots of studies, but I think that everybody that's traded markets knows that markets tend to cluster, right? That it's like, well, you'll see one big order and then all of a sudden everybody's interested in trading it when before they weren't. Right now, they're not interested in trading it. So the square root of the number of shares divided by the AVR volume. Yeah. So let me write it down for you. This is like the basis of a pretty wide amount of trading for large institutions. This is like one of the first things they teach you. See, let's do it in yellow. So this C is just like a constant for the instrument itself, right? Times, I'm going to call it S. I forget what they normally call it, what the correct symbol is. But S is like the spread of the instrument, in this case, 1 tick, times square root Q, size of the meta order, over V. Volume for the day or the time period that you're going to be trading. And what does the outcome mean? That is going to be your impact. That's your market impact. So if you graph that, it looks like this. That's a square root, right? That's the chart of a square root. I found this interesting. Misbehavior of markets, a fractal view of financial turbulence. Are you talking, is that Mandelbrot's book? I've read parts of that book. Well, the funny thing about that one, the funny thing about that one is that Mandelbrot was able to. Yes, it is. Okay, yeah. So here's the thing that I find so interesting about that book. So first of all, most technical traders will tell you that the market is fractal. I don't think they actually understand what they're really saying when they say that, because they think the market's being fractal means you see this pattern like this. But then when you go on to a larger time frame or maybe a smaller time frame, you'll see that this really going like this. And this pattern is repeated over and over and over again, right? And that's what they think of when they think fractal. But what Mandelbrot thinks of when he says fractal is you have a function f of x equals y. And then the output of this function becomes the input for the next iteration of the function. That's what a fractal function really is, right? And so he went through and he did all of this investigation. And one thing he discovered is that because it's a fractal function, it is prone to outright crashing or going on crazy trends. And this is something that fractals do, is that you can have these really wild and unpredictable shifts. Like when they use fractal functions on populations, they'll get these things where, it's like if I change the number of animals in the population at the very beginning by like 1, the behavior can be completely different, right? So he proved that, but he also kind of gets into that, like, it makes the markets unpredictable. Like, there's no shortcut to a fractal function. You can go through and you can run the fractal function 100 times, but there's no way to determine what the 100th iteration will be. There's no shortcut to just say, okay, here's this formula, and you put 100 into it, and it will turn out with the result. Like 100 in the initial state. There's no function like that. You have to expand it out into running the iteration 100 times, right? And maybe there's a way to do it, but us with our math, we haven't discovered a shortcut, right? And so the end conclusion is that markets are difficult to predict. I find the best trades happen when you can tell who is trapped with size. Yeah. I mean, so here's the issue with that. Not that you can't find those. I find that it's rare that you really, really know, right? But I mean, large institutions know that they have a footprint, So they very much do things in a way to make it difficult to see what they're doing. So technicals are the language of the market. If you can't read what it's telling you, you fail. Okay. So here again, you're making a bunch of assertions with zero empirical evidence. Like, think about it from my perspective. Here's this person making all of these claims about technical analysis, and he says, oh, look into this. So then I do the empirical research, and the empirical research of the thing that comes out is that it doesn't work. And then he turns around and he says, oh, well, you just don't know how to use it. No, you know what? You are full of shit. Produce evidence or get the fuck out. Because I'm not going to sit around here and waste time with people that refuse to have a conversation based on empirical evidence. You can talk and yap with platitudes. That's useless to us if you can't prove anything. All right. Goodbye. Goodbye. Produce evidence or leave. Order flow / tape is key, not stupid lines on charts. Well, I have found that it is very difficult to understand what is really going on in the markets if you're not watching the order flow, for sure. But these things still aren't predictive necessarily. Like the issue is that you can come in and like for instance the other day, what was it, Tuesday? Was it Tuesday this week? Where the market started off, they were selling really hard, and then it was recovered and they were still selling off really hard, and the cumulative delta was basically sell all day long, right? And how do you know like which side of the market people are taking the orders on and matters? Is it the market buyers or is it the limit buyers? And so a lot of people just assume that the market buyers are the ones that are always going to win. And then you get a day like that where it's the market sellers are winning or that are more dominant, but they lose. You know what I mean? So chill, man. But it has been going back and forth with this guy for weeks, and he just won't. We've talked with him a bunch of times, and then he starts insulting me when he won't provide empirical evidence. And that is always going to be the line that I hold to, right? Is if you're going to hold yourself up as some bastion of truth and that you know something, but you refuse to produce empirical evidence, you're going to get banned. like straight up, because I'm not going to waste everybody's time with something that is not empirical. Because you could just be some random guy trying to cause drama. So I don't want people to be afraid to like speak up. You can like state opinions, right? But he was doing more than stating opinions, right? By empirical, you mean it has to be backtestable. By empirical, I mean it has hard evidence that a person can go and verify for themselves. That's what I mean by empirical. So that would mean backtestable in some cases, yes. But but it's not just backtestable, because if I went and I did a backtest and then I showed you a test, but I gave you absolutely no information about how to produce it yourself, then for you it's not really empirical, is it? Because you can't go and then try and perform that same test to verify that what I was showing you was true, right? All sorts of ways people can make money trading. Psychology and risk management are key besides the technique. Yeah, well, like here's the thing. You can make money trading just by being lucky, right? That's why I say like, okay, so here's this indicator, Fisher transform. What are the different ways of trading it? You try all of the different ways of trading it. When it crosses the zero line, when it changes from rising to falling, you can apply other indicators on top of it, like, different types of moving averages to smooth out the noise. And then you find out that doesn't work. So then what are you left with? Well, you can try combining it with a bunch of other indicators. You can say like, when the Fisher transform is doing this, and when the RSI is doing this, and when the moving average is doing this, and you can combine it all together into a system, right? And we'll call this indicator soup. And I've made a lot of indicator soup in my day. It tends not to work. Order flow helps, but even the order flow ones aren't very consistent. The issue I've had with the order flow ones is like they'll tend to work really well in certain time periods and not very well in other periods. And there's no indicator to tell you when it's going to perform well and when it's not. Yeah. Luck is great, but I wouldn't build my career relying on it. Yeah. But this is all I'm saying is like people will come in and they'll say, the RSI works. What does work according to you? So if you have news information, if you have fundamental information, material information that affects the market, not inside information, don't be trading something illegal. But I'll give you one right now, one that we identified earlier today. Okay. In the CPI data that was released earlier in the week, there is a note at the bottom of the CPI data stating that they were not able to contact many of their regular sources. Furthermore, we know that the housing market is going crazy, but none of that price increase that we see in the housing market showed up in the CPI data. Okay? You can trade off of that. Maybe not at this exact moment, but at some point it's going to matter, isn't it? You have a piece of information that most retail traders don't know, and you can use that to your advantage when you trade. Right? The DOM, bid offer, stacking, and pulling, footprint profile, sentiment, news, gut, and intuition is all a combination of things that add up to and create a net. Sure. Well, you want to incorporate everything that you can that you know matters, right? So that's where I get back to, say you want to use RSI. Okay, well, what evidence do you have that the RSI does anything? How do you know that? And if you combine it into a system, how do you know that the system wouldn't be better without the RSI? Right? Are you more like a fundamental trader or more technical? Well, I very much rely on my fundamental read. I can tell you that without the fundamental read, I would be terrible. Without the technical read, a lot of the time the technical read just doesn't matter. But the DOM, I mean, there are things that are proven about the DOM that are quite empirical that you can use, right? For instance, the next tick, it will overwhelmingly favors moving the direction that is smaller. So like right here, this 31, there's 57, they're going to trade it down. Now there's 70, likely to tick back up, you know, and they'll go back and forth until somebody decides to actually hold some volume there, right? This one is really easy to see. If you've watched the order book for any reasonable amount of time, you'll see that that happens, right? But people have gone and they've done studies on it, and it's pretty clear, right? So, hey, you know, if you're going to trade with the order book, why not try and catch the edge, right? That is a strategy, catching the edge with some proven effectiveness. Trading without news is like trading without breaks. I think so. And this is where, like, I really like, especially what Blunt says, where he's like, he really believes that you should just ignore the news. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's just like, it's not just like it's ridiculous. He's saying something that is objectively not true. We know, because of empirical research, that markets react to news. And frankly, you don't even need empirical research, right? We know that when a big headline comes out, that the market moves, right? And how you trade if you don't know why that's happening? If it's just a random move or if it's for a reason. And what if that reason is BS and you know that it's going to come back? We take trades like that all the time. I have a whole video about trading the news, and I go over a couple of instances like that where I've made actual real money from doing them. Those are all anecdotal, of course, but like I said, there's studies that show that the market reacts to news. There are profitable strategies out there that have been shown and empirically proven in scholarly research based entirely off of robots trying to read the news. Yeah. You're done, Pierre? How are you done? Well, maybe if you went short. Interesting that the market is coming back down now, right? But it's still, I mean, it looks light. Granted, I'm on the new contract. There is more volume in there, but the latent liquidity, the resting liquidity is still a little light. Anyways. It makes me mad when somebody comes in and they say something that I know is actively harmful to traders and flies in the face of the empirical evidence, you know? To trade, you need to know a little bit about everything. Order book is all fake. So this is why I keep saying, well, you're new, but well, or maybe you're Salim. I don't know. But the polling matters. You can't fake the polling. Well, I guess you could poll and then have an iceberg sitting there, but the polling, the order book is a lagging indicator compared to what? Compared to what? Compared to news, I guess. Is the news a lead? Yeah, okay. News is a leading indicator, sure. News is a leading. Anything, order book, in my opinion, is technical, right? As soon as a change has been made, it's in the past. Yeah, sure. I'm still doing my own research about overall imbalance, if that tells you something. There are certainly things, I mean, the thing that I've been trading off of the past 3 weeks that I've been doing so well with is a purely order book based edge. So fighting about trading pays better than trading. It might be. I really think we should make a video. We should make a channel just to make fun of technical analysis. I think that'd be fun. I just what would I make the name of it be? And would I be able to keep it funny for a really long period of time? That's another big question that I have. Yeah, price is lagging too. It really is. It kind of bothers me when I see people say price is the only truth and that's the only thing that matters. And it's like, okay, so how do you trade with just the current price? You know what I mean? Like they contradict themselves, like especially the price action traders when they say that. It's because you're saying current price is the only thing that matters. Okay, so do you say like if it's 132 and it's an even number I buy and if it's an odd number I sell? Like, how are you using just that one data point to make a directional call? You can't. What they're doing is they're comparing the current price to a past price, right? They're saying, well, in the past it has stopped here multiple times, and now that it is here and it is falling down again, I'm going to take it short. Like those rules, they're all based on past price action. If I had $1 for every person I've come across on the internet that's apparently figured it the fuck out, I'd start a hedge fund, right? Well, and I shouldn't say that I feel like I have it all figured out. I just know a lot of things that don't work. I know a lot of things that don't work. But the vast majority of the things I found that don't work are technical analysis setups. And that's what's so funny about it, is that somebody will come out. I truly believe order flow and inventory is the key. Well, do you have some different way of doing the inventory from the way that I do it with my indicator you get from Speculator Seth? I mean, I definitely find that indicator useful, especially once the regular trading session starts in ES. But I still have to use other things to make it useful. So Brandon is something I've back tested, and he appears to be trading the way that he's supposed to, and getting realistic trades. It's kind of been difficult because during the period that we've been testing it has been where Brandon was expected to have a drawdown. So how well he does over the long run, we'll see. But that one is based on my inventory number and appears to have some effectiveness. I didn't get yours. I just used market profile. Huh. So knowing where people have taken trades, yeah, definitely matters. It's just there's lots of other things that matter too, right? It's as I was like, I look at the, like, let's just say the volume profile. Let's just be like more general. The volume profile. Only 692 contracts have gone through at 39.10. Well, it's pretty light overall, but let's just pick on that spot because it hasn't traded very much, right? Does it matter? Yeah. Does it predict that at this moment it's going to reverse right there? No. You know, it's like one little piece of information that I can prove has some usefulness, but the issue is that most people don't say that, right? Most people say, here's this indicator that you can trade that's predictive. I have not found. Well, I take that back. I do have a few predictive signals, but they're like 1 or 2% predictives. You know, sells EV and makes them. Yeah, I'm not going to trade today. We're still waiting for the baby to wake up. Maybe it'll be another hour, and with the roll and everything, I just don't think that today is going to be a good day for me to take a trade. If I did, I think that selling the 10-year might make sense. It sure is trading down pretty aggressively, isn't it? And as it does so, the equity indexes get creamed and the dollar just comes up. I agree. It's just a tool to show you points of higher, lower probability. It shows you not that. That's not how I use it, Smucker. So I think what you're saying to maybe try and be a little bit more specific about it. It shows you places where it has traded and not traded in the past, right? That's not how I use it. The way that I use it is I use the volume profile to try and model the underlying latent liquidity that you can't actually see. Yeah. And so when I see a spot in the volume profile, for instance, this 39.10 and a quarter that didn't trade very much, what I'm thinking is, okay, they did trade there, but the people that wanted to trade there have already done so. And we often will get stuck here, right? Because that is a spot where the latent liquidity is low. There's not a lot of latent or resting liquidity there. And so it becomes a hole that sucks us in. That's how I look at it. I'm always looking for, I'm trying to model the underlying latent liquidity. It is windy outside today. They must be getting it crazy in the mountains. I hear Denver's going to have a huge snowstorm. Yeah, that's similar to my view. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people could look at it and say, okay, like here is the edge of the value area and I'm going to reverse it here or something like that. And we've done a little bit of investigation on that and it's not bad, but it didn't make money. It was kind of break even, kind of suggests that it's like something that you have to factor in, but that doesn't provide alpha. 3906. Well, I tell you what, if we're going to go and do a technical analysis, here's the thing that I see right now is that, oh, by the way, need to make that text-to-speech on. This is a very, very clear cut. And typically you'd get a handle, right? That's what the technical traders are going to be looking for. I don't know what's actually going to happen. Having the treasury press down here again seems to be really hurting the market. And I'm not sure why it's doing that, but 27 is big support. Well, wait, where are you getting that one from? I see. Yeah, that was the previous low. Yeah. Ooh, okay. Well, it seems pretty dire in the treasury, don't you think? Why do you think it's turning back down again so hard? Maybe they're just doing it because it's options expiration today. Don't go selly willy-nilly just yet. Yeah, might. Well, the flow that you see it right here in the 10-year, if it's going to go lower, it's just going to fall. There doesn't seem to be a lot of active activity right here, though. You're expecting a range day today? Well, now that the PPI came in line with expectations and the way they were trading, I can see two possibilities. I mean, in my mind, the possibility of like a really crazy strong sell-off today is probably not so strong. But sideways, I can definitely see. But I also think that they want to get that all-time high, you know? But if we were to have a strong down day, that could be very destructive to the technical setups, at least, don't you think? Yeah, I mean, it could turn back down and get back to the lows very quickly, couldn't it? It's Mother's Day on Sunday in the UK. Oh. Anyways, it was another thing I was going to say about the whole technical analysis battle is I think it's telling how people react when you call them out, right? So like if somebody were to call me out, well, first of all, I would be really careful to say that I'm not making any kind of a performance claim, right? Sometimes I do well and sometimes I don't do well. And I'm not doing this to say I've got it all figured out, and if you do what I do, you'll make money, because that's never going to be true, because past performance isn't indicative of future results, right? But then the next thing that I would do is I would come in and I would say, look, here are some of the things that I try and incorporate into my trading, and here are like some studies about why the market behaves that way, and proof that the market actually does do something there, and that it's very consistent, right? But instead, what you'll tend to get is either like this crazy defensiveness or like trying to change the subject. Sometimes they'll try and be nice to you and try and change the subject, but they won't actually refute any of the data, you know? It's like, I get that all the time. It's like, okay, so why don't, if you think that something works, why don't you show why the data that suggests that it works? But you never get that. Why don't they do that? Might help with an up move since many people are short the market. Well, I'm not sure that's true anymore, though. I'd have to look at the gamma reports. I don't know where we're at on that. I believe that at the beginning of the week or last week that all of the options gamma was at 3,900. So I think that if that's the thing that we're trying to trade off of, then the most likely case is that it just kind of sticks around where we're at right now. I'm surprised that the baby is still fast asleep. Because of hedging. Yeah. Well, that was just where all of the expiration gamma was. So if it moves very far away from 3,900, options players start to lose money, right? Pappy says they might be losing or just not willing to show you. Well, yeah, now that's the other thing that I think is really funny is like, I totally get not wanting to share your specific edge or setup, okay? I don't understand not wanting to show your performance, you know? But the thing that's really bizarre about it is that the people that you're usually having this argument with are people that are like out there front and center marketing themselves to say that here's a strategy and you should all trade this strategy, right? It's always this guy on TikTok. Here's how you can make easy money in the market. Just trade this thing. It's an ascending triangle, guys. If you have a move like this, and it's, you know, and then it's a little bit higher and then it's likely that it's going to move up. And as soon as it comes up, you take the breakout and you put your stop to be the other side of the triangle, and you put your target to be like 2 times the triangle. And there's a strategy that you can make money from all the time, right? That's the way that people always present it. And so then you're like, okay, prove that works. And they get all pissy about it. It's like, well, I'm not going to show you my performance. And I'm like, why not? You're the one you're like saying that you're making money from it. Like, so why wouldn't you just show it? You know? You can be successful making money on a coin toss too. Yeah, well, and the thing that's funny about it is that there's this like psychology bit too. This is why I think it's so important. If you're going to make decisions based off of something that somebody else says, there better be like some empirical evidence to support what they're saying, right? Because they might have just been lucky, right? There are some people I'm sure there are traders out there that have been really successful trading and have absolutely zero edge in this market at all. But they were successful back in a time that they had something that worked, and they maybe didn't even discover that. Maybe somebody shared it with them, or who knows, you know, like they might have just gotten lucky. It happens. It does happen. And then the other funny thing is that the people that are successful, it seems like I've had people that show me their results and have shown to me that they've made money, at least for a period of time, trading this particular thing. And I've gone and I've back tested that particular thing. And what I start to find is that the reason they're making money is because of the trades that they take that the strategy says not to take, or the trades that the strategy says to take that they don't take. And they don't even know why they take or don't take those. So they themselves aren't even aware of why they're successful. It's the most bizarre thing, you know? So how can you make a decision off of that when there's so much randomness and noise, even to just if somebody's profitable? There's got to be some empirical evidence suggesting that the phenomenon that you're trying to trade actually exists. Nah, listen, if you are on the internet promoting yourself and your strategy, you are already revealing yourself on the internet, okay? You can't run around and say, here's a strategy, you all should trade it, but I'm not going to show you how I've done with it. What the hell? This is the most bizarre take, right? You know what that kind of take is? That's the take of somebody that's not actually making money and is trying to make money from selling you something. That's what that take is. Empirical evidence, or get the fuck out. Jeez. If you are selling a strategy, you are not making money. Sure, well, there's lots of people out there selling strategies, huh? But then here again, like, there are lots of people claiming that they're making money, but then they won't offer anything up. So here we have Salim. He wants us to believe that he's so smart, and yet he can't figure out how to use a combine and blew the combine, and then, like, we're talking about somebody that doesn't even trade, or if he's been trading, it's only been like a few months, and he thinks that he's some sort of genius. No, you know what he is? He's a psychopath. That's weird that that thing kind of shut down for a second. But well, apparently he's not RJ Will. Apparently the other streamers are having problems with him too. And you know, the other funny thing is that he has a channel and he's posted videos on it. They're really shitty videos, but no, this is somebody that is trying to build a base to promote themselves with. Yeah, I think so. The problem is that I think that everybody hates him now. So good luck with that. Yeah, you can. He's posted videos before. I don't remember what it is. The only thing that was on there was like, I don't even remember what it was. The thing that was so weird about it was that the video quality of it was so bad that it was barely watchable. And I couldn't figure out why it was so bad. It was just like it had really heavy compression on it for some reason. But I don't have the link anymore. It was under his like main Salim name though. The original one that we banned. Okay, so here's the oven. I'm surprised that the baby has made it a whole hour. A whole 2 hours, because it takes me like an hour to get ready. Yeah, I could see him filming himself with a potato in the corner of some studio. Right. Yeah, you know what I appreciate though. Well, I don't remember her name. Ah, man, there's this one person. So there's this one girl on TikTok, and I mean, granted, she's good looking and everything else like that. So of course she's. But the thing that I like about her is that she always comes out and she's like, "Here, I'm going to show you my portfolio. Remember that everybody is like, doing really well, and they're going to show you like these amazing results, and I have no clue what I'm doing, but this is how well I've done now." And it's so cool. And this is kind of what I was doing with my channel at the very beginning. But I think it's so cool to see somebody that is 100% transparent, understands where they're at, and understands that they don't really know a whole lot, and just sharing the content as they go along. Of course, I like to see people be able to generate their own things. But then when you generate your own things, maybe you want to keep those to yourself anyways, right? But it was really refreshing because there's so many people on TikTok. I tell you, there's so many people on TikTok, especially in the cryptocurrency space, that are trying to sell you on something. And here's the one where I'm getting to the point too. As I feel that recently on this issue of like people posting performance and not being able to tell you and things like that, I think I've kind of reached a new spot because I'm realizing that what happens is you're trading and you start to have a little bit of success with it. So you get excited about it, and then you turn around and you want to share it with everybody else. Because I did that many times, right? But I was never like, okay, like now we're going to base our whole channel off of marketing this thing, right? Like I created the indicators for you guys, but I never made any claims about them. I just said, here's what I'm doing, and we can mine this information together and we can work on it together, right? And I do have some strategies that show it has some effectiveness. But most of these guys, it's like they have a little bit of success and then they turn around and are like, okay, let's market this. You know what I mean? And I'm realizing now, because of some other empirical evidence that I've seen, that if you have something that is really, truly effective, then you should keep it to yourself. The more I trade, the less I want other people to know I am trading. Yeah. Totally. I'm totally the same. I'm totally getting in the same way. Like it's a real conundrum for me because I want to continue to develop this community, but I don't want people to know what I'm doing. And if I was doing really, really well, I would not want the channel to be like going amazing because everybody knew how well I was doing. No, doing really, really well, I would want everybody to think that I was doing awful. How do I deal with that? How do you reconcile that? I don't know if there's a way. Maybe at some point you just get successful and if you have to turn the channel down, or I don't know. I don't know, man. It's hard. I guess maybe that was part of the reason why I did the robots, because I was like, okay, well, there are some things that I'm noticing recently that I think I can turn into strategies. And if I can get the robots to be successful enough at it, I can let the robot do their thing in the background and we won't know what's going on. Perfect. I'm really surprised that the baby hasn't woken up yet. This whole time I was like, how am I going to do this stream? He's going to be awake? How am I going to do that? Oh my gosh, yesterday. So should we segue to a different topic now, since we've beat on performance and technical analysis enough? Sorry, I was a little bit onto it because I started an argument with somebody on TikTok yesterday. He was nice about it, even though I'm an asshole. But it was also kind of like, well, it works for me, but I can't really prove that it works. Okay, he's a nice guy though. My child, so I'm watching him yesterday. I'm still working. And we came across an issue. So we're trying to fix this issue that involved like changing configuration files and restarting processes. So we're pretty involved in it, right? And then my wife leaves and he woke up from his nap early, and so I'm watching him. So I moved my laptop into the kitchen because this room is not very safe. This room is not safe for him to walk around, generally speaking, because there's just a lot of power cords around, right? So I go in there and I'm like, okay, I can just work on the kitchen table here, and he's stuck on the floor, right? Wrong. He can climb chairs and climb onto the table now. Like, I knew he could climb onto chairs, kind of, because he climbs up onto the couch all the time, but I did not think that he could climb up onto the table. And like, that's a real problem because that table is where we put everything that we don't want him to get into. He's leveled up. That's exactly what it is. Oh man, they busted that. So I'm seeing some signs of interest in the treasury, but it looks like they're going to go lower, man. Do you see this? This is like negative action in the treasury. Like, it ticks down on 1,000 contracts, okay? And then like it seems like people are willing to trade it, but then like nothing happens and it ticks down. Absorption at 25 to no avail. And they traded 12,000 there. That's quite a bit. I hate having conversations with civilians. Well, it's not conversations with civilians. Yeah, so like this is another thing is like on the base level, there's a lot that you can talk about with regular people. Sure. But if I started talking about the implications of the square root law of market impact, it's just going to be like whoosh. So like my video where I go through the indicators that I'm using, there are now a good number of comments on there where the people are saying that they just don't understand what I'm talking about. So even amongst traders, a lot of the stuff that we've been doing gets a little bit too deep because they're not really into the order book. Okay, so that was good. Oh, what? Block buy at 28? 3,000? Oh, that's interesting. That must have been somebody stopping out. At the beginning, I wanted people to know, but it's just too hard to explain. And on top of that, it doesn't even matter how much time you devote to explaining. They will never understand. Well, I think that there is some use. So here's what I'm discovering, Lucas. You can talk about trading with people. You just don't talk about trading. So like talking about, oh, that was him. He's awake now. Talking about technical indicator this or or strategy this, like they don't care, right? But talking about, oh, I thought it was going to go down, so I sold it, and then it immediately went up on you, and like taking somebody through the emotional roller coaster and making fun of it, they love that stuff. They love that stuff. Or normies want to hear winner stories. Like there are ways, because I've been finding on TikTok that if I just make fun of myself, that people love it. When I actually give like actual hard advice, like those are the videos that do the worst. But I kind of try to save the really hard strategic advice for one-off YouTube videos, right? So he definitely made a sound there. I think he is awake. I'm going to go check on him, all right? Okay, so we're back. We get a baby. Oh, you can't even see him. You're too short, Asher. It's blocking his head. Oh, your hair looks so golden in there. So he's gonna place trades now. When you say $500, people just think you're a gambler. No, that's not the way that it works anymore, man. Now it's like only $500. So he seems a little sleepy. He's still waking up. Brad, yes, I do. There is a video. Let me go find it. Here, can I take the mouse for a second? We're gonna go find that video for Brad, okay? Yeah. Here's my channel. Oh, where did I put it? Oh, somebody commented on it the other day. Here it is. Share, copy. There we go. Do you not monitor the VIX? I do. I don't have it on directly because I don't get that data into NinjaTrader through Rhythmic, unfortunately. So when I think that it's important, then I will bring it up. But today it's kind of like meh. Well, it looks like they're trying to buy it up. Trying. Okay, you want the mouse again? There you go. Maybe if I just like make it, zoom it out. How's that? Yeah, Brad, he is really big. So he's a year old, and he's apparently like top 95th percentile size for his age. Now, this is my microphone. You have that mouse. Okay, you do the talking, and I'll use the mouse. Do you see yourself over there? Kids can play games at 3 years old on the computer now. Dude, his favorite thing is to just move the mouse. And like he can tell, like if he can't see the cursor moving around, he gets upset. we should turn on. We'll turn on the text-to-speech. Look at his ears. The thing that's crazy to me is his hair. It's like bronze.
Trade Loops says, "Oh my god."
You're seeing something? The E-mini's going up. You see it right there? Look, they're pretty active there, actually.
Trade Loops says, "Proud of you, Seth."
Oh.
Octavius C says he is a little trader, and traders gonna trade. SM0K3R says you too rock. Trade Loops
It was a
says,
lot
"How
of
did you
work.
produce this cuteness?"
It was a few months of concerted effort, you know what I mean?
Trade Loops says, "Aha." Sid Chitness says, "Do you want him to be a systematic or a discretionary trader when he grows up?" IQM says, "Check it out on Maury.lol." Trade
Well,
Loops
if
says,
he
"Adorable."
decides, or if
Trade
any of the
Loops
kids decide
says, "Oh my god."
that they are into trading, I will not be telling them, okay, you should be a retail trader. I'll say, okay, so then we're going to get you through business school, and then you're going to get hired right out of school by Goldman Sachs, and you're going to trade for a large firm. That's really the way to do it, you know? I wish that going back that's what I had done. Gone to business school. But, oh well. Or start your own. Well, you know, then you're talking about like having your own investment portfolio. That's a different thing. You can certainly do well with that, though. Okay, now he's going to take the mouse. The funny thing is he refuses to use his fingers. He only uses the thumb button. No, I'm on M on all of them. Oh no. Oh yeah, we got the consumer sentiment news in 5 minutes. Do you want the microphone? You could probably buy this and get away with it. You don't want to hit that. That hurts everybody's ears when you do that. Okay, you just don't make the screen go all weird. He's like, buy this, buy it now. Please the account. No, leave that alone. Leave that alone. Okay, well, we got about 2 minutes here. Michigan current conditions preliminary. We're looking for an estimated 88.3. Consumer sentiment, we're looking for an estimated 78.5. And we have an estimate on the consumer expectations, 74, but not inflation. I really, it would be important to have an estimate for inflation expectations at this point, but they are thinking 3.3%, which was high last time. That was last time. This time, if it's higher than that, that could be a problem. Buy all the milk. Is there a milk futures market? They could go find the milk futures market and have them trade milk. There is cattle. I know there's cattle. You would think that there would be milk futures though, right? Maybe not. Maybe that's too controlled of a market. Are you going to the bathroom there? No, I don't think so. Nah, it's false alarm. False alarm. He just farted. Well, they're buying into this. You think that consumer sentiment is going to be like in the 80s or 90s again? All right, here we go. Here we go. Yep, it is 83.0. Oh, and conditions 91. But what is that inflation expectation? GNF. What does GNF stand for? Yeah, that's the Vista chart, Asher. Oh, thanks. Wait. Oh, it's dying. Okay, 1 year inflation preliminary actual 3.1. Why is the E-mini selling? Oh, GNF is non-fat dry milk. DC is class 2 milk. Okay. Household net worth is a percentage of disposable income. It has never been higher. Market value of equities net worth non-farm incorporation has never been higher. Huh. Can you not move that? cash settled butter future. What? Really? That's what we should trade. Cash settled butter, CB. Pull up a DOM of that. Do I need to take that away too? Because you just can't handle. Hold on. He doesn't like the pad. Oh, turn on the light thing. I don't think he'll actually look at it. Oh, there he is. He's looking. Don't you burn my cute little Sethy eyes with all the lights. What? It's a marquee scoreboard. It's interesting how much easier it is to read it through the stream window than it is when I'm looking at it. When I'm looking at it, it's really hard to read. I guess maybe just because it's too big. Well, I can see the dollar moving down here. Okay, well, the equities sold initially off of that, but have since recovered. That was kind of an odd move. Oh, no. Well, I mean, I think they still might want to go for the all-time high. Oh, I'm not allowed to talk anymore? Oh, man. Getting defensive, are we? He's a mine. You gonna say anything? No, you don't eat it. You go, hello. Just put the Mickey back in. You just hit yourself in the face? So are you done? You want to be down? Yeah, that big old orders, it's bigger now. There's like 300 lots there now. Wish I could, maybe I should just unplug the keyboard. So we'll probably end early, but I think we'll go for another 20 minutes. Oh, don't fall. Here, have the Rubik's Cube. Rubik's Cubes are cool. What was that about? Do your time and sales combine records? Yeah. Are you talking about my ones on the far left? So my ones on the far left are individual level 2 changes. So yeah, it's changing a lot. You can see right now because there's those huge orders packing around. That's why I had to turn off the clicking sound. We'll see if it's still there on Monday. It'll get interesting, right? Maybe it's just some new liquidity that's here to stay. Okay, yeah, no, that time and sells is an aggregated time and sells. So it uses an algorithm to determine, to combine them into one order. Yes. It's a reconstructed tape is what they call it. Looks like I might need to increase that too because we're getting a pretty good number of those big orders. Well, They made an attempt to push higher there. Now they're pushing the low and actually pushed below the low from right after the news. So they're still struggling. This is interesting. That's really, really interesting. Man, you're really chewing on that Nerf dart. You heard of the dump money YouTube? No, I've never heard of that. There's so many YouTube channels, man. It's like especially in trading, there's like a new person in trading every day. Ew, gross. Don't get the slobber all over my keyboard, grow. Ah. I have 4 combine options in my time and cells with same price type, same time price, and same time type, and combined into exchange reported original summary tape right now. It doesn't show the same as you. Are they looking? They are looking for streamer. Well, why would I go and stream on somebody else's channel? Dumb money. That doesn't sound like the channel for me. They will pay you $60K. They have to pay me more than that. Especially if they wanted me to do it full time. Well, I'm not going to say they were smart money, but that's interesting. I've always wanted to, like if this channel got to the point where I could make it a full-time thing to, to kind of start more of a CNBC sort of a thing. I'm always up for working with other creators. Like we did that podcast thing that one time with what is his name? Shadow Trader? I forget his name at the moment, but that was fun. No, don't touch the microphone, please. You leave that alone. Well, anyways, later today I'll go and look up at the channel and see what they're doing. But I kind of feel I'm kind of happy doing my own thing. Well, that sell-off, they're trying to pull it back out. They haven't done so yet. I wouldn't say that it's a dramatic turn yet, But especially if they get below like 39.13, we have to start considering the short side, right? What type of combine orders should I choose? What do you mean? Like, should you be using market or limit orders? If you're talking about market versus limit orders, you should use limit orders unless you think that you're not going to get filled. Okay, so there's 39.13, and it's below the open. So there's a little bit of support there. Oh, do you think that's funny? Oh, well, are you using Jigsaw? It sounded like you were using something different. So the way that Jigsaw aggregates it is different. What they do is they're looking for how much the level 2 has changed when the order went through. So I don't know how to duplicate it in Sierra. I don't know if you can. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that it was that different. So the funny thing is the reconstructed tape in Jigsaw is actually one of the most difficult things to duplicate. like the current trades column is actually quite easy to do. But to do the reconstructed tape, you have to look at all of the market orders that come through, and you have to look at the level 2 and how much the level 2 changes each time. Oh, no. Don't poke in the screen. Yeah, that's where Jigsaw excels, I think. Yeah, I'm surprised though that Sierra hasn't tried to duplicate it, but so I have my own order tape, and yeah, I aggregate on time. If all of the orders came in at the same time, then I assume that they're part of the same order, but that's not how Jigsaw does it. Here, use play with this card, dude. No, stop touching the computer screen with stuff, dude. Will be more difficult as time goes by. Execution goes buying 300 lots at market. Oh, you messaged me on Twitter? Oh, on Twitter. Okay, I'll have to remember to check that out. Okay, well, I'm gonna put him down for a second. Oh. Oh, you're right. The contract is in a different one. But why did... Oh, yeah. I switched all those ones over. I just didn't switch this one over. June. I guess that means that there's still pretty big ones. Still pretty big orders going off in the old contract then, huh? Not really seeing them on this one. Don't apologize to him, Kyle. It's just Salim trolling people again. Who else would come in and be so rude to somebody? Especially somebody that's been coming in every day and has been a good contributor. Oh, okay, I see. Hmm. I'm looking at this thing that you sent me, Mike, and I am kind of being like, okay, if I did it as a separate thing. Even then you told me it was right, haha. So there was one. I don't know. I actually kind of wish that I still had it on the old one. That would be more useful to me at the moment. That is the sign that it's time for me to go. Anyways, thank you guys for sticking with us today, even though we weren't really actively trading. Do I got anything? Yeah, honestly, just for this fact of spreading better information than the typical noise, this is why I think it would be good for a segment with these guys. Okay, well, I'll look into it. Yeah, have a good weekend, guys. And I think Asher will be back on Monday. But then we'll get back into our regular trading. And of course, because of that, no video this week, but hopefully next week, I don't know, I have to look at the schedule, but hopefully then we'll be able to do the one with the chalkboard. So I'll see you guys Monday. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.